Have you ever cleaned a shelf only to find it covered in dust again just a day or two later? It seems to appear out of nowhere, quietly settling on books, furniture, screens, and windowsills, no matter how often you wipe it away. But what exactly is dust? Is it really made mostly of dead skin, as so many people believe? Why does every home collect it, even with the windows closed? And where does all of it actually come from? Today we will uncover the secret life of the tiny particles floating all around us every day, right here on History of Simple Things. Dust has been around for as long as Earth itself, but people haven't always understood what it was. Ancient civilizations noticed fine particles blowing across deserts or gathering inside homes, but they had little idea of their origins. It wasn't until scientists developed microscopes in the 17th century that they began seeing dust for what it really is: a surprisingly complex mixture of countless tiny materials. Over the centuries, improvements in chemistry, biology, and environmental science revealed that dust isn't one thing at all. It's a constantly changing collection of particles from both nature and human activity, each with its own story to tell. One of the biggest myths about dust is that it's mostly dead human skin. While it's true that people naturally shed millions of skin cells every day, those cells make up only a small portion of household dust. In fact, the exact makeup of dust depends on where you live, the season, whether you have pets, and even whether your windows are open. Dust is more like a recipe with dozens of ingredients than a single material. A large part of household dust actually comes from outside. Every time you open a door or window, tiny particles drift indoors. Soil, pollen, plant fibers, smoke, and even microscopic bits of rock travel through the air. Wind can carry dust across entire continents. Every year, huge amounts of dust from the Sahara Desert in Africa cross the Atlantic Ocean, reaching South America and even parts of North America. Those minerals help fertilize the Amazon rainforest, showing that dust isn't just dirt, it's part of Earth's natural recycling system. Inside our homes, everyday life creates even more dust. Clothing slowly sheds tiny textile fibers whenever we walk, sit, or fold laundry. Carpets release small fibers as they're used. Furniture, paper, and cardboard wear down over time. Cooking sends tiny droplets of oil into the air where they eventually settle. Candles and fireplaces release microscopic soot particles. If you have pets, fur and tiny flakes of skin become part of the mix as well. Even opening a package or tearing paper adds microscopic particles to the air. Some dust comes from sources that are almost invisible. Tiny fragments of insect wings, pollen grains, fungal spores, and bacteria all become part of the floating mixture. One of the most surprising residents of household dust is the dust mite. These microscopic creatures are too small to see without magnification. They don't create dust, but they live in it, feeding mainly on flakes of human and animal skin. Warm, humid homes provide an ideal environment for them, especially inside bedding, carpets, and upholstered furniture. Although dust mites themselves are harmless, their waste is a common trigger for allergies and asthma. The Industrial Revolution added an entirely new chapter to the story of dust. As factories spread during the 18th and 19th centuries, cities became filled with coal soot, metal particles, and industrial pollution. Dust was no longer just a natural part of life. It became a growing public health concern. Factory workers who inhaled large amounts of coal, silica, or cotton dust often developed serious lung diseases. These discoveries eventually led to workplace safety laws, protective equipment, and improved ventilation systems that are still used today. Scientists continue to study dust because it reveals an incredible amount about the world around us. Researchers analyze dust trapped in ice cores, caves, and ocean sediments to learn about ancient climates and volcanic eruptions. Archaeologists examine dust inside old buildings to understand how people once lived. Even forensic investigators sometimes analyze dust to determine where an object has been or how long it has remained undisturbed. Something that seems completely ordinary can become an unexpected record of history. Modern homes have introduced new types of dust as well. Tiny fragments of plastics, synthetic fabrics, rubber, and electronic materials are now common indoors. Researchers have found microscopic plastic particles, known as microplastics, in household dust around the world. Scientists are still studying their long-term effects on human health, but their presence shows how closely our environment reflects the products we use every day. Despite its reputation, dust isn't entirely bad. In nature, airborne dust plays an important role in ecosystems. Mineral-rich dust fertilizes forests, oceans, and farmland by delivering nutrients over vast distances. Tiny dust particles in the atmosphere also help water vapor condense into clouds, making rainfall possible. Without these microscopic particles, Earth's weather and ecosystems would work very differently. Of course, too much dust indoors isn't ideal. Besides making surfaces look dirty, accumulated dust can carry allergens and irritants that affect sensitive people. That's why regular cleaning, vacuuming with good filters, and improving ventilation help reduce the amount that builds up. But no matter how carefully we clean, dust never truly disappears because we're constantly creating it simply by living our everyday lives. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.